Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. We have Dr. David Jockers. We're talking about intermittent fasting and the keto diet. So, question number one. Talk to us a little bit about you personally. Like, how long have you been doing intermittent fasting? Talk about any extended fasting and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Well, growing up, my mom was actually a naturopath. So I was around a lot of natural health principles. Now, she became a naturopath while I was growing up. So, we did a lot of things the wrong way, and we learned a lot as I developed. And my early 20s, I developed irritable bowel syndrome. And it got to the point where I lost 30 pounds. I had orthostatic hypotension. I'd go from sitting to standing, and I would be really, really dizzy. And I found that I just felt better when I wasn't eating. And so what I actually started doing, and this is really just intuitive. Nobody was talking about intermittent fasting. This was 2005. I just was really intuitive, and I realized, hey, if I drank a lot of water in the morning, I didn't feel hungry, and I actually felt really energized. And I had been struggling with a lot of fatigue, and I was in graduate school at the time. So it really helped. My brain became alive. I just felt a lot better. And then I wouldn't actually get hungry. As long as I stayed hydrated, I wouldn't get hungry till probably around 3 or 4 o'clock. And then I would eat my meals. And basically I more or less ate one meal a day. And I was able to regain my health. I gained my weight back, felt better than ever, got my strength, my energy, my vitality. I finished the top of my class coming out of graduate school, become a doctor of chiropractic. And intermittent fasting was, a core strategy, even though I really never had even heard that term intermittent fasting. I just realized, hey, I feel better when I eat, in a short eating window. And so, I went in, basically started my practice, was working around the clock and helping a lot of people, but I was working crazy hours and just stressed. And I had a whole lot of imbalances in my life. And I actually developed skin cancer. And this is 2011. And when I developed that, I started doing some research and found the ketogenic diet and went on a nutrient-dense, real food-based ketogenic diet, applied intermittent fasting and also extended fasting, and I was able to heal myself with the skin cancer. And then ever since then, I've been teaching it, created a lot of content for my website and programs on ketogenic diet, fasting. I have a book called The Keto Metabolic Breakthrough, and I've been able to help thousands of people really be able to get fat adapted, keto adapted, and apply intermittent fasting principles so they develop metabolic flexibility and really achieve their goals in life.
So, question number two. Talk a little bit about how fasting can help with skin issues like psoriasis or chronic autoimmune skin conditions, and what fasting does to kind of help that. And have you seen that in any cases in patients?
Yeah, for sure. Well, basically psoriasis, eczema, these are conditions of skin inflammation, basically inflammation that's impacting the skin. Typically there's gut issues that are taking place. And so, for example, when the gut is irritated, we increase the amount of a compound called substance P. Now, for some individuals, that substance P, when it increases in the gut, it will also increase in the joints and cause more pain for some individuals. For other individuals, that substance P will increase in the brain and cause brain fog. For other individuals, it can increase around the skin and create more inflammatory type reactions in the skin and histamine-like reactions in the skin as well, which can cause those types of issues. And so fasting is so powerful for just down-regulating inflammation in general, and it also allows our gut to heal. So when we fast, we help to, it's almost like, mowing our lawn. So our gut microbiome is kind of like a grassy field. Now, in that grassy field, we're going to have a whole lot of weeds. And if we don't trim, if we don't mow the lawn and treat it properly, then we're going to end up with a lot of those weeds that are overgrown. And those weeds are going to steal nutrients from the good grass and the good plants and, oftentimes create, an inhospitable environment or a more inflammatory environment in our gut. So when we fast, it's kind of like mowing the lawn, right? We trim things down. So a lot of the microbes, certainly not all of them, but a lot of them, good percentage, die off, right? And that process, when they die off, helps reduce our overall microbial load. And even though bacteria and microbes are so essential for life, there's a lot of research coming out on the microbiome, how important it is, and how these bacteria, basically we couldn't absorb any nutrients without them, and they produce all kinds of compounds that support our body. However, they also are a load on our immune system. And so once, there's, in a sense, there's this equilibrium or this optimal level where our immune system is not overloaded, and we're also able to, get the supportive nutrients we need from the bacteria. But once we get too much, so just an overgrowth of yeast, of bacteria, of different microorganisms in our gut, it puts a lot of stress on the immune system, and that can create elevated levels of inflammation. So when we fast, we trim that down, and that can be huge. And also fasting helps improve stem cell production in our intestinal lining, because the intestinal lining cells are going to reproduce every 3 to 5 days. So if we even do like a 24-hour fast has actually been shown to increase stem cells in our intestinal lining, these new young cells, which are more resistant to stress. And we only have one cell wall, or basically one cell lining between our intestinal lining and our bloodstream, as opposed to our skin. We have something like 10 plus cells before we actually get to the bloodstream with our skin. So our intestinal lining can be really sensitive. And if we're constantly eating food, that roughage can cause that inflammatory damage, along with microbes producing different compounds, eating foods that provoke inflammation. So fasting allows us to really heal the gut and reduce inflammation in there. And that right there will cause an overall reduction in inflammation throughout our body. And therefore we'll have less inflammation in our skin. So we actually, it's more of an inside out approach. We actually help to heal our skin conditions, not by putting topical lotions. Sometimes those can be helpful, but I would say 90% of the healing in our skin is going to come from helping our gut heal and reduce inflammation in our body. And fasting is really the best nutritional strategy for reducing inflammation. Like, you can do supplements, you can do curcumin, resveratrol, all kinds of powerful supplements, but there's no supplement, no food that reduces inflammation in your body like fasting. So it's really the best way to reduce whole body inflammation from a nutrition perspective. And obviously that will impact the skin.
Hey guys, if you want to try one of these necklaces, if you want to try any of these EMF tools, go to essentialenergy.us and use coupon code Chantel Ray for a huge discount. That's essentialenergy.us. So you guys know I've interviewed women all across the country that have been naturally thin their whole life with no dieting, no gimmicks. I interviewed over 1,000 women. I asked them, what'd you eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? And they told me everything. And so I actually have written 4 books now with all of these insights. I have put their secrets all right there. And so if you're tired of just the diet roller coaster and you just cannot lose that weight, I have a book called Waste Away. That's the very first one. That's how I break down how I discovered intermittent fasting, how it changed my body, and how thin eaters, they don't even call it intermittent fasting. They just do it. Fasting to Freedom is another book I wrote. It goes deeper. It's more into the spiritual and emotional side of fasting. It brings clarity and confidence, and it really kind of teaches you how to do a little bit longer fasting. Then I have One Meal and a Tasting. It's my most practical guide. It just walks you step by step through how you can live a sustainable fasting lifestyle, and literally the exact things that these women did while enjoying the foods you love. And then finally, a Bible study that's called Freedom from Food. And this is like a 6-week study that you can do with a group of friends. It's really fun to do with a group. These books are the complete bundle. So if you go to chantelrayway.com, we're actually doing one free giveaway for the complete bundle. So if you go to our Facebook group, it's the Intermittent Fasting and OMAD group. Make sure you join. We're going to do a free contest for a free bundle for one lucky person. But if you want it right away, just grab the free bundle. It's the cheapest it's ever been, because we want you to get your breakthrough, your body, your rules, your breakthrough. chantelrayway.com. And question number 3. Now, let's talk about extended fasting one more time. So people talk about how when they go on an extended fast, let's just say they do a 2-day or a 3-day fast, people seem to go through a lot of highs and lows when they're doing an extended fast. And so when you're in a fast, what's usually causing you to feel terrible? You know, like you're in a longer fast and you're like, oh gosh, I'm feeling so terrible. And then sometimes you might be doing a fast, you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like $1,000,000. Can you talk about that for just a minute?
Yeah, there's a number of things. One is when your stored sugar goes down, your glycogen levels, okay? that alone can make you feel very, very fatigued until your body really kicks in the amount of ketones that your brain needs to feel good. That will make you feel fatigued. Another big issue is really emotional. It's oftentimes very, very emotional. See, when we eat food, we get a dopamine release, and that dopamine makes us feel good. We get also a serotonin release. So it's kind of this natural high that we get. And many of us, we get very used to that. And that becomes almost a crutch in life, where we're kind of living meal to meal to get this sense of this natural high, okay, which helps us escape from oftentimes a lot of pain that we may have had in our lives, or different traumas that we may have had. And so for many of us, food becomes this escape. And when we no longer have food, or we no longer have the meal that we're looking forward to in the next, few hours, then it's like we just have to face that pain, the trauma, the, whatever it is. And we get to this place oftentimes where those neurotransmitters, we're not getting that bump that we need, and we can feel really low, and we can feel really, depleted. And so, I always tell people, especially when you first get started, if you're doing an extended fast, I would definitely recommend journaling, different ways, talking with people, going out, moving a lot, taking walks, going out in nature. These are all natural ways that you can bond. Just talking can help boost your oxytocin, which will help boost your dopamine and serotonin. Talking with somebody who cares about you. Going out in nature is a really great strategy. Going out for a walk in nature. Prayer, obviously, a really powerful way to help boost your serotonin, your dopamine levels, your oxytocin levels. These are all important. And then, you're saving money because you're not eating. So I always tell people, use that money to go get a massage, go get a spa treatment, right? Something along those lines. You want to really do more self-care, self-analysis and self-care, and it can help you break through those challenging periods of time. And then, from a physical perspective, also there can be an electrolyte imbalance. You may need more sodium. So if you're deficient there, your blood pressure is going to go down quite a bit, and you may feel really dizzy, you may feel nauseous. And so getting enough sodium, so just taking some salt, drinking water, hydrating your body, very, very important with that. And then for some people also, you'll get some die-off from, we talked about the bacteria and different things like that. And that die-off can create gas, which puts pressure up on your stomach. It can cause your stomach to basically push up, and can cause nausea. For some people, they get nauseous. Okay. Other people get diarrhea, right? And oftentimes has to do with bacteria and different microorganisms dying off, releasing compounds that end up causing those responses.